Nail Enver did not believe in fate. He believed in mistakes. And mostly, that he made too many of them. His ship, the Rough Theory, wasn't even supposed to be flying through the Uni's drift, a dead zone marked by unstable gravity wells, ghost signals, and several very confident death warnings from the Central Alliance. He went there because of a glitch. Or maybe it was a dream. He couldn't remember. He never slept well, and he rarely dreamed without burning stars in them. He barely remembered the crash. Just heat, alarms, impact. And then, silence. He crawled from the mangled hatch into a world that should not exist. The sky bled rust. The sun pulsed like a dying eye. Clouds didn't move. Gravity pulled wrong, like it was thinking about collapsing but hadn't made up its mind. "This is fine," he whispered, standing unsteadily. Completely fine. The wreckage steamed behind him. He didn't check the cargo. Didn't check the hull integrity. He just stared at the horizon, broken ridges that looked like the ribcage of some planetary giant. And then he felt it. A pressure behind his eyes. Like being watched not with eyes, but with memory. He turned. And she was there. Not walking, unfolding. Peeling herself out of shadow like she was always there and only now remembered how to exist. She wore nothing human. Her dress was a cascade of colors Nail couldn't name, fabrics that moved like thought. Her skin was pale like untouched moons, her hair the color of space between galaxies. And her eyes. He'd seen stars collapse slower than the way she blinked. He didn't breathe. Not out of fear, but out of some strange, primal reverence. Like she was made of something older than the universe. "You pollute my graveyard with breath and lies," she said. Her voice was like two strings being plucked at once, one music, one static. Nail blinked. "Ah. Hi." She stared. "Look, if this is your moon, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to crash here. I'm an explorer. Kind of. More like a guy who reads old star maps and gets bored easily. Anyway, do you have, I don't know, a phone?" She didn't respond. Just tilted her head. "Or smoke signals?" "I'll take smoke signals." "You laugh in the presence of death," she said. "Well, I'm not dead yet," Nail replied, with a half-smile. "And if I am, this is a weird afterlife. Not enough coffee. Too much sand." She blinked slowly. Then raised a hand. Before he could react, violet energy coiled from her fingers, wrapping around his limbs like silk spun from gravity. It didn't hurt. But he couldn't move. Not even enough to flinch. "Okay," he said, smiling through clenched teeth. "So you're into bondage. Cool. Bit fast, but I'm open-minded." She stepped closer. He saw the shift in her eyes, not amusement, but curiosity. She was studying him. Not like a predator, but like a puzzle. Or a song she couldn't remember the lyrics to. "You are not what I expected," she murmured. Flattered, Nail said. Also immobilized. "Could we maybe do the flirting part without the restraints?" "Flirting," she repeated, as if tasting the word. Then, without warning, the ground beneath him sank, silently, impossibly, and he descended into the planet. The chamber below wasn't natural. It pulsed with a soft violet light. The walls were lined with murals, not painted, but alive. They moved. They told stories. Wars between gods made of thought. Cities grown from crystal, floating above suns. Beings with long ears and faces too symmetrical to be real, feeding on light and emotion. "What is this place?" he asked, quietly. "My prison," she said. "You seem pretty free for a prisoner." "I am the jailer," she replied. "And the last inmate." He watched her move, not walking, always floating. She never touched the ground. Never disturbed the dust. He was starting to realize she wasn't pretending to be otherworldly. She was pretending to be nearby. "What do I call you?" he asked. "Aurea." "Aurea," he echoed. "Beautiful name. Sounds like music played backwards in a cathedral." She turned toward a mural. It showed her, younger, maybe, standing among others like her, their hands raised to stars. Behind them, a spiral of galaxies bent around a single word, Seraphir. "We were not gods," she said, quietly. "We were not demons. We were, resonance. We lived on the edge between signal and silence. We fed on meaning. On memory." "Emotional vampires," Nail said, softly. Her lips twitched. "Not quite a smile. You are the first to call me that and live. I'm honored." A pause. A long one. "Why aren't you afraid of me?" she asked. Nail shrugged, as much as the restraints allowed. "I've seen things that made me scream. You don't feel like a nightmare. You feel, like a ghost. Tired. Cold. But not cruel." Her eyes flickered. "Besides," he added, "if you were going to kill me, you'd have done it already." "I might still," she said. "Then I'll die being honest," Nail replied. The restraints dissolved. He dropped to the ground with a grunt. Slowly, he stood. "Thank you," he said, rubbing his wrists. "You amuse me," Aurea said. "That is rare. I'm a rare breed. Sarcasm and poor survival instincts." "Stay," she said. "Just for one cycle. I want to understand you." Nail hesitated. Then nodded. "Okay. But only if you promise not to feed on my unresolved trauma. It's messy in there." The room they gave him, or maybe it built itself around him, was like something out of a dream warped by grief. Tall ceilings with whispering echoes. Furniture that hovered just enough to be disorienting. A bed that felt more like a memory of comfort than an actual place to sleep. He awoke to find Aurea standing at the foot of it, holding something. "Breakfast," she said. The tray floated to him. On it, a green cube that shimmered like a glass heart, a twisting ribbon of something gelatinous, and a tiny bowl of clear liquid with a single black seed in the center. "Okay," Nail said. "What's edible and what's going to try to enter my dreams?" "They are all edible," she said. "Good enough." He took a bite of the cube. Sweet. Bitter. Electric. Like biting a secret. "I can't tell if that was melon or memory." "Yes. Of course." Aurea perched midair across from him, sleeves floating like seaweed in slow motion. "You confuse me," she said. "I do that to myself, too. You fear being alone. Don't we all? Not everyone admits it." He looked up. Her expression had softened. Only slightly. But it was there. "I've always felt too much," he said. "Too much noise in my head. Too many thoughts that don't belong. I thought maybe mapping the stars would quiet it. But it just made me feel smaller. And yet you keep looking up." "Better than looking down," he said. A pause. "What do you want from me?" he asked. Aurea didn't speak for a long moment. Then, connection. He blinked. "I have been alone longer than your species has been awake," she said. "I do not desire companionship in the way you understand it. I seek reflection. Understanding. Maybe even warmth. So you want to fall in love? I do not know if that word fits." "Well," he said, smiling softly, "maybe we can figure it out together." That night, Nail stood beneath a domed window in his quarters, watching the starlight pour through refracted crystal. He heard her before she spoke. "A storm is coming." "Weather?" "No," Aurea said, voice lower. "Something waking." "The court." "You mean your people?" The remnants of them. Their dreams are restless. They feel you. What happens if they wake up? They won't like what I've become. Which is merciful, she said. He turned. Stepped closer. Then maybe it's time someone showed the mercy is strength. You speak like someone who's never ruled. And you speak like someone who's never been held. She blinked. He reached out, slowly, and touched her hand. She didn't pull away. You are not what I expected, Nail Enver, she said. Good, he whispered. I'd hate to be predictable. And somewhere, beneath the moon's surface, something ancient stirred. Not in anger. In recognition. Sela Rowan never believed in ghosts. But she believed in dreams. And this one wouldn't stop coming. Each night, she stood beneath a burning sky, breathing air that tasted like sorrow. A moon that pulsed with red light rose behind her, and in front of her stood a woman, tall, silent, and shimmering like grief wrapped in velvet. She never spoke. But Sela woke up crying. Not from fear. From longing. You're losing it, she whispered to herself on the fifth night. She stared at her reflection in the dim-lit mirror of her ship's microcabin. Dark eyes, too much caffeine in her system, an old scar beneath her jaw that never quite healed right. She tapped her neural wristband, brought up her schedule, and sighed. Nothing for another week. She closed her eyes. And the whisper came again. Come. Sela Rowan had once been an empathy hacker. Illegal, expensive, and in her opinion, vital. She could tap into neural signals, mirror emotional pulses, even embed synthetic resonance into fragile memory loops. She'd helped diplomats feel what war victims felt. Helped prisoners remember remorse. Helped lovers say goodbye without speaking. But she never expected the stars to call her like this. She traced the signal back, a strange pattern folded in subneural echo waves, embedded in old Alliance drift maps. Forgotten routes. Dead sectors. There was a frequency. A name she didn't recognize but kept seeing in the dream. Aurea. She left her station without telling anyone. Took a freelance pod, bypassed drift protocols, and followed the dream like a compass. When she arrived, her ship shuddered. Like it wanted to leave. The moon below wasn't marked. Shouldn't be there. But it was, hanging in space like a secret someone forgot to bury. As her pod descended, light fractured around her. The moment she touched ground, the whisper in her head stopped. And the silence lived. The surface was not empty. It breathed. Not with lungs or sound, with memory. Sela felt her own emotions slow down, like the place was trying to sync with her heartbeat. She stepped forward. The sand here was dark, soft as ash. The air thin but livable. She scanned the horizon. And then she felt her. Not saw. Felt. Like a dream remembering its dreamer. She turned. And there she was. Aurea. And beside her, a man. Human. Young. Disheveled. Handsome, in a sleep-deprived kind of way. His gaze locked on Sela. Cautious. Surprised. Aurea's expression didn't change. Sela Rowan, she said. Not a question. Sela's mouth went dry. How do you know my name? You gave it to me. In the dream. Nail stepped forward. Hold up. She dreamed of you, too. Wait, Sela said, blinking. You're real. Very, he said. And kind of stuck here. Aurea didn't blink. You heard my call. I didn't come for you, Sela said, lying. I came for the signal. I thought. You wanted to know why you felt incomplete, Aurea finished. Why the silence around your heart grew teeth. Nail looked at Aurea, then at Sela. She does that. Talks like poetry and dread had a baby. Sela couldn't stop staring. Aurea, she whispered. Why me? Aurea's voice softened. Because you remember what it means to feel everything at once, and survive. I don't remember ever meeting you. Not here, she said. Not now. And Sela's chest tightened. Like something was trying to escape it. They walked together, or rather, Nail walked. Aurea floated. Sela followed. The corridors beneath the moon moved like thoughts, reshaping based on emotion, memory, need. Sela felt her childhood echo behind walls. A lover she lost humming in the dark. Her own voice asking questions she forgot how to ask. This isn't real, Sela whispered. Real is relative, Nail said. This place is built from resonance. Emotions have mass here. Dreams have architecture. You're too calm, she told him. He's always like this, Aurea said, quietly. Laughs when he should cry. Speaks when silence is sacred. And yet you keep me around, Nail replied. Aurea looked away. Sela noticed the way they stood, not quite close, not quite distant. You're in love with her, she said to Nail. He didn't answer. Aurea did. He reminds me of something I once felt. Long ago. Before the fall. And me? Sela asked. You remind me of what I lost. They showed her the court. Glass orbs suspended in slow fluid, each containing a motionless seraphir. Beautiful. Still. Ancient. They sleep, Aurea said. Until I wake them. Why haven't you? Because they will want to feed. And I no longer do. So you resist your nature, Sela said. I choose it, Aurea corrected. Same thing. Nail tapped one of the orbs. It vibrated gently. Careful, Aurea warned. Do they dream? Not like we do. Sela stared into one orb. A woman inside looked just like her. She backed away. What was that? The court reflects fragments of you. Emotional overlays. It is normal. But it wasn't. She felt the woman's gaze on her, even through sleep. And somewhere deep in her chest, Sela felt something shift. Like a door unlocking inside her bones. That night, she couldn't sleep. Her thoughts pulled in every direction. Aurea sat with her. Silent. Graceful. Terrifying in her stillness. You reached out to me, Sela whispered. I called to the ones who feel too deeply. And what do you want from me? A choice. What choice? To remember. Remember what? Aurea looked at her, really looked. That once, you loved me. Sela's breath hitched. I think I still do. Aurea touched her hand. Warm. Impossibly warm. Then stay, she whispered. Just for one more night. And Sela did. She lay beside her. No words. No promises. Just silence. Soft, full, shared. And in that moment, for the first time in years, Sela didn't feel like she was dying. She felt like she was burning. Ivan Kirill was a mistake left behind by time. He had been asleep for 228 years. Not on purpose. Not exactly. He'd been part of a deep space archaeological research fleet, the Onyx Chorus, studying dead systems for traces of pre-organic memory structures. He'd gone into cryostasis during a fuel crisis. And never woke up. Until now. A soft whisper dragged him out of stasis, not mechanical, not expected. Just a voice, shaped like longing. Wake. When he opened his eyes, the world was wrong. Dark, red-lit. Walls not made of metal or polymer, but living stone. Veins of violet light pulsed in the air like the heartbeat of a creature too large to be seen. And the silence, gods, the silence, it curled into his ears like it had teeth. He sat up. Dust fell from his skin. Memory lagged in his chest like an echo stuck in a bottle. Status report, he rasped. No response. His stasis pod was cracked open like a dead seed. Half the systems blinked error codes in a dialect 80 years out of date. He pulled a coat from the emergency bin, activated what remained of his HUD, and stepped into the chamber. He expected emptiness. What he found was art. Not static, moving. Murals that shifted when he blinked. Scenes of tall, elegant figures with silver eyes and luminous skin weaving cities from thought and emotion. Seraphir. He'd seen references to them, myths buried in precursor data files. Not gods. Not machines. Not people. Resonance-based entities. Aliens who drank meaning the way humans drank air. He blinked again. A name floated to the surface of his mind, unbidden. Aurea. He wandered for hours. The moon was alive. Not biological, but emotional. It responded to feeling. When he remembered something sad, the lights dimmed. When he felt awe, they brightened. It was like walking through someone else's soul, long abandoned, half awake. He found a room with mirrors that reflected moments he hadn't lived. A woman with starlight hair. His own voice, saying a name he didn't know he knew. Aurea. He touched the glass. It shimmered. Behind him, a voice said. You are late. He turned. And saw her. Exactly as the memory had shown. Aurea. Unchanged by time. Silver-eyed and slow-moving, as if the world bent around her in deference. He didn't speak. Because every part of him, the parts frozen, forgotten, and fractured, remembered her. You are not the first to arrive, she said, later. They sat beneath a hollow canopy that mimicked stars. Ivan watched her hands as she moved. Precise. Graceful. Heavy with unspoken weight. I was in cryo, he said, quietly. Forgotten. I don't even know who authorized the wake-up. I did. He looked up. Why? Because I felt your name ripple through memory space. Like a bloom reawakening after winter. We've met. Not in the way you remember. But yes. He ran a hand through his hair. I don't feel like myself anymore. You're not, she said. You are who you became, after. After what? After the part where we were real. His throat tightened. You feel familiar. You are the echo of someone I once loved. Am I him? No, she said. But you carry him inside you. Maybe that's enough. He explored the court chambers. They moved beneath the surface like veins of an ancient heart. He watched frozen seraphir drift in violet liquid, their bodies unmoving but humming with potential. He studied the murals again. He documented what he could, sketching diagrams and etchings on his old data slate. But he didn't leave. Every time he tried to climb back to the surface, something stopped him. Not fear. Grief. Like the moon itself wanted him to stay. And every time he saw her, Aurea, he felt more and more like he was made of pieces that once belonged beside her. You sleep differently than the others, she told him one cycle. He nodded, chewing on a gray root she'd claimed was nutritionally balanced if not spiritually inspiring. I was never good at dreaming, he said. Even before the freeze. Always woke up cold. Your soul remembers, she said. Remembers what? The shape of mine. He looked at her, really looked. Her features were not soft. Not warm. They were carved from symmetry and starlight. Too perfect to be human. Too broken to be divine. And yet she smiled, sometimes. And when she did, it fractured him. You seem lonelier now, he said. Than in the murals. I am, she said. I made a choice. Not to wake them. Not to feed. To wait. For something gentler. You don't have to wait anymore, Ivan said. Don't tempt me with comfort, Ivan Kirill. He smiled. You said my full name. Are we getting serious? She tilted her head. Your humor is louder than your sadness, she said. Yeah, he replied. That's how I survive it. They began to walk together. Not often. Not regularly. Just, enough. Enough for her to remember what presence felt like. Enough for him to start believing he hadn't been left behind by time, but carried to it. He told her about Earth. About music. About ruins made from poetry and pain. She listened without blinking. Your people are sad, she said, one evening. They are. Beautifully so. We once called sadness a sacred thing, she murmured. Because it meant you remembered. Do you remember him? He asked. The one I'm an echo of? She didn't answer for a long time. Then, I remember how he made silence feel like music. Ivan exhaled, slow. Do I do that for you? Not yet, she said. But maybe. Maybe, she said. And that was the first time he saw her hesitate. Not from fear. But from hope. One night, he dreamed. Really dreamed. He stood in a field of stars. Oria beside him. Her eyes weren't silver, they were storm clouds. Her fingers touched his jaw like they'd done it 1,000 times before. If I wake them, she whispered, you'll be the first to die. Why? Because they'll recognize you. And hate what I've become. Then don't wake them. But the longer I wait, the more I become something they'll destroy. He touched her hand. Then let them come. She looked up. You would stay? Yes. Even if it ends you? He smiled. Everything ends. But not everything matters. This, you, matters. And she kissed him. Not with hunger. With memory. And when he woke up, she was sitting beside his bed, silently. She didn't speak of the dream. She just held his hand. Thane Morell once believed in peace. He made careers of it. Crafted treaties from blood and compromise. Soothed warlords, calmed rebellions, lied beautifully for the sake of what he called hope. And then came the fracture. A 3-year ceasefire crumbled because he trusted the wrong emissary. An entire colony died. Thane was stripped of his badges, his rank, and, worst of all, the belief that he could make things better. The systems renamed the incident. History reworded it. He became the architect of collapse. So he left. Not out of guilt. Out of grief. And something else, a whisper. A thread in his dreams, silk woven through sorrow, that led him to the dead moon on the edge of the Uni's drift. A name he didn't recognize. Oria. The descent nearly tore his shuttle in half. But he survived. Barely. The moon didn't kill him. It held him. That was worse. He staggered out of the smoking wreckage and found her waiting for him on black sand, her shadow cast in directions the sun didn't reach. You, she said. He fell to his knees. Not from pain. From recognition. I don't know you, he whispered. Not yet, she replied. But he did. In some way older than blood, in a place memory couldn't reach but feeling could. He had loved her. Not in this life. Not in this form. But somewhere. Sometime. Someone. The moon accepted him. Or maybe it pitted him. The walls adjusted to his moods, cool, dim, silent. The corridors never echoed his steps, and he never asked why. Every chamber felt like it was remembering how to breathe. He did not see Nail, or Sela, or Ivan. They were gone. He knew, somehow, that they had left traces, but not presence. He was alone. And yet, she returned. Not often. But enough. Aurea. She no longer floated every time. Sometimes, she walked. But when she touched the ground, the moon dimmed. "You're fading," he said one cycle. "I'm choosing to," she replied. "Why?" "Because I am tired of pretending to be above suffering." Thane looked at her. "You never were." She turned her face away. She showed him the court. Again. But now, the orbs were dimmer. The seraphir inside them paler. Almost ghosts. "They're losing their shape," he said. "They are waiting too long," she replied. "And my presence is no longer enough to hold them. You'll have to choose soon." "Yes. If you don't wake them, they dissolve. And if you do, they destroy. You. Everything I've built inside myself. Every restraint I've cultivated. They are pure resonance. And I've become flawed." "Flawed?" She looked at him. "I have grown too close to humans. To me." She didn't answer. But he knew. Thane spent his nights sitting by the old crystal lake that never moved. He watched its surface for ripples that never came. Sometimes, she joined him. They didn't speak much. Until one evening, she whispered. "Do you regret coming here?" "I regret being too late," he said. "For what?" "For you." Aurea's gaze didn't soften. It deepened. "You think you could have saved me?" "No," he said, "I think you already saved yourself. And then kept punishing yourself for surviving." Her breath hitched, just slightly. "I remember a version of you," she said. "One that never stopped speaking. Always found the right word to end a war. That man died in orbit." "No," she said. "He is just quieter now." He kissed her in a moment he didn't plan. Not because he wanted to win her. But because he wanted her to see herself reflected in someone who didn't fear her. Her lips were colder than his. But they trembled. After, she sat perfectly still. Then she said. "You are not the first to kiss me. I don't want to be. You're the last." He held her hand. Carefully. "Then let's not waste it." The moon began to crack. Not physically. Emotionally. The resonance in the core, the energy that fed on memory and feeling, was splintering. The court would awaken soon, whether she wanted it or not. Aurea took him to a chamber neither of them had entered before. He didn't ask how she knew it was time. She just did. The walls were lined with spirals. Carvings of her. Alone. Standing between stars and fire. An ancient war played across the floor, shadows of the seraphir harvesting light, turning love into weapons. In the center, a dais. On it, a seed of black crystal, cracked. "This is the beginning," she said. "Of what?" "Of what we became. What we lost. What we feared to admit. And now." "Now," she whispered, "I give it away." She touched it. And something broke. Thane collapsed. His head swam with soundless screams. He saw flashes, Nail laughing, Sela crying, Ivan kissing her under imagined stars. Fragments of the other visitors. Emotions she had absorbed. Lives she had folded into herself to stay human. And his. His grief. His longing. His failures. He thought she would pull away. But instead, she fell into him. "They will wake now," she said. "And they will try to take it all back." "Then fight them," he gasped. "I can't." "Why?" "Because I am not their queen anymore." He held her as she trembled. Then be mine. She looked at him. Really looked. And the gravity shifted. For a breath, for a heartbeat, the moon centered around them. The Seraphir woke that night. Their orbs shattered silently, like glass breaking underwater. 12 figures emerged, tall and radiant and terrible. They saw Aurea. And they saw what she had become. And one by one, they began to weep. Not in sadness. In rage. You have polluted yourself with human weakness, the tallest said. Aurea did not flinch. I have chosen love, she said. Then you will fall, the other hissed. Thane stepped forward. Not alone. They raised their hands. The air thickened with memory blades. But Aurea lifted hers first. And the chamber burned with resonance, not fury, but forgiveness. She did not fight. She gave. And in giving, she broke the cycle. The Seraphir screamed. But then, stilled. As one, they stepped back. And vanished. Not dead. Just, unanchored. Sent into silence. Aurea collapsed. He caught her. You didn't destroy them, he said. No, she breathed, eyes fluttering. I freed them. And you? I'm not sure what's left of me. He touched her cheek. Enough. That night, the moon quieted. No more screams. No more resonance. Just stars. Real ones. She lay beside him, weakened, her body no longer floating. No longer glowing. Just present. Just herself. Do you fear what comes next? She asked. Yes. But you'll stay. Until you tell me to go. She looked at him. And smiled. A long time, then.